ready?
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And etc.
Now, Bears Etc., brought to you by Geico, with the voices of the Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
Well, it's Thanksgiving week, and we do have a lot to be thankful for, as I'm sure you do as well. And we'll break down a Bears-Lions Thanksgiving special coming up here on episode 114 of the Bears Etc. podcast. We're brought to you by Geico with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. As a former player who had some really stinging losses in your career, I don't know if you've had these kind so close together, what does that do to the mentality of a player when they go back to work? Is it as easy as they make it sound like, hey, we got to move on to the next one, or do they add up and do they linger?
No, what it does, it develops a sense of camaraderie to let everybody know that we're all in this together. And if we keep up the fight, we're eventually going to get these things turned around and the results are going to be a lot better. There's a lot of encouraging signs that keeps my attention throughout all of those games. But in the almost 30 years that we've been together, I thought in our football life that we have seen and said it all. And within a couple of these losses so far this season, it doesn't bring you back to, oh, I remember this or I remember that, because a lot of this are first-time happenings. When do you have a game where you make a comeback and you get an onside kick? And then you
win the coin toss.
Yourself back in the game. You know, there's so many instances in time of some of these games this year that, you know, as a Bears fan, it makes me more of a Bears fan, because when this thing gets turned around and the Bears are a success, I want to be proud that I stayed a part of it the whole time. And I think that's some of what you go through in the locker room, because when these guys get in the locker room, there's nobody that knows about what they're going through except the guy next to you. And when you look them in the eyes and you have conversations with them, it's kind of the soothing and healing process of the difficulty of being a professional athlete.
All right, there's a lot of guys in there that are going to be here a while. I mean, they've got long-term contracts or they're rookies just starting out, and you know you're gonna remember these. It's going to feel a whole lot better in the end when you do win and when you go and win that Super Bowl, when you've been hardened by some of these situations, because it isn't normal. It's not going to linger. It's not going to happen this way every week. You're not going to lose games like this routinely. You're going to find a way. And when it does, it's going to break and it's going to feel great.
So I was talking to an ex-professional athlete this morning, and we were talking on the phone, and I was saying, you know, what is attachable to a team that's suffering some difficulties at this time? And they were saying, well, the most important position in the NFL is quarterback. And if you have that attachment and that growth and that success meter is on the upswing, it makes the locker room more convinced and convicted of what this thing can ultimately be. And when you talk about guys that are going to be here for a long time and their role in the development of this unit and this team, it's not only, you know, we're thrusting all of this pressure on a Caleb, but it's the other guys that they have inside that locker room that are going to be are already NFL superstars by their own merit.
And that is a conversation I had with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Let's get to that now and the status at Hallis with the head coach. All right, thanks as always, Matt. Appreciate your time, and it's valuable this week, no question. We talk about it every year. You're always going to have a Thursday game, but it's just the process it's challenging for everybody aboard, and everybody in the league's got to do it. But have you got it down to a science?
Yeah, we like our process that we have and the plan we have in place for the Thursday games, and it really comes down to a couple things. Is first of all the mind. You got to set your mind, to doing the work that you need to do to get ready, and then it's about the body. You know, the guys have to get their bodies right with the training staff, with the performance staff, and do a really good job of getting their body in the best way they can, going into Thursday. And to me, it's about the spirit. You got to do a really good job of getting that spirit right. Because you got to play with passion on Thursday, and it's important that we get that done, during the course of these next hours that we have. It's time's ticking, and we understand that. And the preparation, is at a premium, And we want to go in there and play good complementary football. We're excited about the challenge, and we're excited about the competition here on Thursday.
How do you approach Spirit if you see it in their face? Because they all feel, I mean, they're just stunned at how this team has lost 3 of the last 4 games in the fashion that it's happened.
Yeah, it's about having resolve, right? Being steadfast, to each other and to the things we want to accomplish, and that's about doing it for each other and pulling together. And I think that's important that you do that. And there's also a lot of good things that are happening on our football team. And there's a lot of things that have happened on our football team. So I know the result isn't what it is, in terms of what we want, in terms of the last few weeks. But again, we're just that far away. And we have to close that gap. And how do you close that gap? By pulling together. And you close that gap by just doing a little bit better, at the end of the football game as a whole football team.
What is the impact of a quarterback who is playing like he is and really was a star yesterday? He was fantastic. What does that do for everybody else on the team in terms of getting ready for the rest of the season? Because you got a guy who is showing he can pull you out of the fire here. He is young, yes, but he can do that. And does it make everybody play a little harder for the quarterback?
Yeah, I would say that, the hope and, the future of the franchise is always on the quarterback, and he's done a really good job with that. And he understands that. And he understands that he has to get the ball to the skill and do his thing, and he's been doing that. And I believe that the football team, that is always going to be a big spark for a football team. And, guys want to do right because we have a chance to win every game. And we got to make sure that we, continue to improve on all sides.
When it all started to come back in the final minute 56, and then you get the outstanding onside recovery, what's that adrenaline rush like on the sidelines in that moment? Because everything had to fall perfectly, and it did.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the whole sequence, of events there. It was really good, in terms of getting all the things to fall into place. And the guys did a wonderful job of executing. You look at the 4th down catch from Rome. The touchdown to DJ, and then all the things that had to fall into place, and then the big kick return, and then the onside kick, and then the big in cut to DJ, and then you have the us clocking it at the right time, because we've practiced that. And then Cairo, coming back from last week, from the Green Bay game and making that kick, was such, a good, to see for our football team, and there was a lot of positivity there. And then we won the coin toss, which is great, right? You win the coin toss. And, then we have to operate, as a football team better there, right? So, we took a couple of sacks there. We had to punt it away, and then defense needs to make the stop that are necessary to go ahead and win that game. And, again, we just got to play better as a football team at the end.
What is the evaluation of the defense right now? They've played some really, really impressive football over the past 2 years here. So there's an evaluation of the other team, too. They make plays.
Yeah, like I said, we've played some really good football, at the end of last year and also this year. We've played some really good situational football, been good on 3rd down. We've been good in the red zone. All the metrics that you say are, you're playing good. And, we just need to tighten some things up, and that's the course of every season's like that, and our guys are up for that challenge, and so are the coaches. And we'll work on this week, in terms of tightening things up, and being better, in those critical moments.
I'd like to bring up some individuals that maybe are getting overlooked just from attention-wise. Roschon Johnson. So definite nose for the end zone, does he not? And he almost had another one yesterday on top of it. What do you think about he's getting, just a handful of opportunities, but he's making the most of them when short yardage in particular. 6 touchdown runs.
Yeah, he's done a really good job inside the 5-yard line there, really doing a good job. And the offensive line's been doing a good job in terms of, getting and blocking there on our goal line package or whatever it might be. And that's an everybody thing. And Roschon's always stayed positive. I know he was injured during training camp, and he's done a good job coming back from that, and staying positive and really working himself back into that. And he's done a really good job in pass protection, and he's also done a good job in 2-minute when he's been called to do that, catching the short area throws and having yards after catch. And I think that's all encompassing of what a running back does.
I want to talk about DJ Moore because in the post game I brought it up because it is reminding me of Debo Samuel, that how he's being used, especially on the fly sweeps or the tosses and run plays, and he looks really good doing it. He's slippery, he's explosive, hard to bring down even when he catches the football, obviously. So that's like a subtle change in the use of him, but it's a big payoff, do you think? And is this now the new DJ?
Yeah, and I think DJ can do a lot of things. He does a lot of things well and does a lot. He does a bunch of things great. And I just think that he's, the more we can use him, the better. It's going to open things up for everybody else. And I really believe that using him in that role, in terms of a screen player, but also getting him down the field, also, on that, like we saw in that deep end cut. Those are all positive things and ways to gain yards, in space and get a great athlete in space to be able to break those tackles and yards after catch and the things that he does.
All right, and then the secondary as a whole. Have you ever in your career had so many pieces to a puzzle in a secondary, guys that are coming off the practice squad and performing, veteran guys? I mean, the guy who recovered the onside kick is backup safety, Travarius Moore. I mean, they're all making plays. They're all involved. They all seem to have that same mindset. Is that a fair representation? And have you ever had that many guys that you can call on?
Yeah, J.O. did a really good job yesterday.
Yeah.
He had an interception, made a couple of really good tackles.
The interception, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah,
he did some really good things in there.
One.
He obviously caused him recover a fumble and on the goal line. So there's a lot of positivity there. Hicks, when he was in there, was really playing at a high level. And that's
Reddy Stewart comes in a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Reddy Stewart comes in, and it's the next man up mentality, and the guys do a really good job, and they've affected the game, with ball production too, which is always a positive.
Is Kyler ready to become a superstar at nickel?
Kyler's done a really good job at nickel. He's going to make a lot of impactful plays as we go down the stretch here, and I really believe that he's knocking on that door, and he's really going to push through in these next games because he's making a lot of impactful plays, and again, we're going to use him in a lot of different ways.
Right.
So he's really good.
Sorry to step on you. I know we worry about us, not them, but them is Detroit, and they're a freight train right now. What's the best way to analyze them?
Yeah, they do a lot of things well. They're obviously on a big win streak here, and they've done a good job of running the ball and staying committed to it. One of the most, in terms of attempts per game. And then they've done a good job of stopping the run, and they're really playing at a high level. They do a really good job of getting the ball to their skill in a short area of the field, and be able to let those guys run, after the catch. And so that's why our cup and our short area defense has got to be really good. So it's going to be a big challenge for us, on Thursday. But our guys are up for it. We get to play on Thanksgiving. We have an opportunity in front of us to play our division opponent. And the guys are excited about the competition.
Appreciate it, Matt. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks.
So, I did like what he had to say because, as you referred to, if you've got the quarterback, and I think the Bears in that locker room feel they've got the quarterback, no matter what's gone on, these final 6 weeks of the season, you have something to play for because of Caleb Williams. He's going to put you in a position where you're going to be competitive. And I think that rises the competitive nature of everybody in that locker room. There's a great deal of respect for him already, and more to come as he continues to grow. And I just think that keeps everybody's eye on the fastball a little bit here.
Listen, when I became a part of the Chicago Bears after they lost the 84 NFC Championship game, and I came a part of the Bears, and I knew the road to making the team was going to be difficult. But when I had an opportunity to play, I also felt the commitment of protecting Jim McMahon or blocking for Walter Payton. And that's the same thing that whether you're an offensive lineman, a running back, a receiver, whatever position you play, how can you complement the rest of the guys on that football team? And how can you complement some of the key components on that football team? And so whether it's my generation of the 80s or the generation of 2024, it's the same message that's being sent in a team sport. And so I think this is a group of guys that's convicted of making sure that they close this season out on a positive note, and there can be nothing better than playing the teams within your division and spoiling their day.
Have a new or gently used coat laying around? Head to your local Jewel Osco until February 10th and donate one of your new or gently used coats to the 36th annual Chicago Bears Coat Drive. Help keep Chicagoans warm this winter. Caleb Williams, 32 of 47, 340, 2 touchdowns, 103 quarterback rating. Again, a 5th consecutive game with no turnovers. 68% completion percentage, 6 rushes for 33, which happened to lead the team in terms of yards, timely as they were the week prior. And we're seeing some development of different things, as I referred to in the broadcast and our TV show, and then with Matt just moments ago, as you heard, DJ like Debo, getting the ball in his hands and having him create.
DJ is capable of doing anything that's asked of him. He took a couple of passes when he was lined up as a running back that was super creative by Thomas Brown. You see of some of the way he ran those screens when he got the ball thrown to him with, and again, I still want to compliment the accuracy of Caleb on those types of plays, because if it's not for the efficiency of those passes, they're difficult to run.
Let me ask you about how he is hiding behind his blockers, getting low. He's not a small guy, but he just looks so slippery and just full go, north and south, hit the gas and go. And weaving and bobbing and just really impressive with the ball in his hands.
It's professional patience for that type of play, because DJ Moore can outrun any guy that's in front of him. But it doesn't do him any good to outrun a couple of big offensive linemen that are looking for work, right, as you say. And so when they're downfield and they're making a block and they're making a defensive lineman take a longer path to DJ, then you see the results of those plays that have been so positively run in the last few weeks.
All right, let's talk about the impact of Thomas Brown. How would you frame it? And it seems like whatever he's speaking, Caleb is digesting, because it's a different look these last 2 weeks. No question about it.
Well, that's the thing about what I admire most about Thomas Brown is the fact that from the very first time I heard him up at the podium, I wanted to see if he was going to deliver as to what he was saying from the podium. And he delivered in a big, big way. And then now you get a little bit of this growth and development of a new relationship from a leadership role on this team. And he brings Caleb along even farther. A lot of creativity within the plays he's calling and the way he's calling them. And now that's what's got my attention captured for this week on Thanksgiving Day, to go into an environment and then see how Thomas Brown, conducts the offense under more difficult circumstances than the last couple of weeks. However, what he starts grabbing my attention during the week by the way he talks up at the podium. And I like the way that he can transfer what he says at the podium onto the playing field. And to me, with a small sample size, I think he's got the respect of every member of that offense in that room.
What's telling for you in terms of what you're seeing?
Is, talking about how he wants every player to take accountability for their role in preparation, to make sure they understand what the duties are of the play called in the huddle, get it into the huddle quickly, have Caleb say it, and then run the play efficiently. He's done that. The creativity in using the athletes that he has at his disposal on this offense in the way he incorporates all of them. The way that he's taken Caleb in saying, okay, rather than trying to buy 5 extra seconds in pass protection, run the ball. And what you saw about him being the leading rusher from this last week's performance, what he did against the Green Bay game, that changes the way that every defensive coordinator that they're going to play down the road has to think about him. And there's nothing more evidence of that than on that 1-yard touchdown pass that he threw to Keenan Allen. Go back and look at that replay. As he spreads out to the right-hand side, 4 defenders from the Minnesota Vikings run at him, and they leave Keenan Allen all alone. That shows you a shift in tide right there of what they're thinking about Caleb's threat as a runner, but now they got to respect his threat as a runner and what he can do as a passer.
Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. His development, identifying and handling the blitz, because he's seen so much of it already in these 12 weeks of the season. Is this, in a weird way, benefiting him in a bigger picture moving forward? Because he's already seen a lot and you can tell how he's managing that. Yeah, you're going to get an occasional one that's going to sneak through and you have nowhere to go other than getting rid of the football. But do you think this is benefiting him? He's seeing so much pressure.
Yeah, 1,000%. Because you know, if you just watch the head of Caleb during the course of a football game and you look at the different communications that he's doing with all of his assets on offense, in the way he can make a hand gesture or an eye gesture or just make an eye contact to make sure everybody's on the same page. And then when he understands the protection, Caleb has to know the protection as well as the offensive line coach and every offensive lineman that has an assignment, because he has to know where the vulnerabilities lie. He has to know what position he can take advantage of, and he has to know what his exit strategy would possibly be if he feels that time is coming. So just to think that Caleb is just saying the play in the huddle and then going and waiting for the ball to be snapped, no way. As soon as he says the play in the huddle, until the ball is out of his hands, there's 1,000 different things that is going through his head. And so what encourages me most is the more he learns and the more terminology that he uses, the smarter and the better he gets at his job.
We're brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears. Two captains at the podium on Monday at Hallis Hall before they went right into tape review and meetings, getting ready for Detroit. One of them is wide receiver DJ Moore.
You could be frustrated, but, you still got to play the next week, and it's any given Sunday. And our Sundays lately have been in the favor of the other team, which we need to turn that around on this short week. So that's all I'm looking forward to.
What toll does the losing take on you?
I mean, it takes a toll. You never want to go in a losing slump. And once you get out of it, you never want to get off that high of winning. So we got to figure out a way to win.
And then how daunting is it then?
I mean, I'm for whatever helps the team win and be on a positive drives and throughout the game. So whatever that aspect is of me getting the ball is I'm okay with.
JJ, how do you break down that pass in overtime? I mean, it seemed like the middle was a little bit more open than some people thought. What did you see when you lined up and during the course of that play?
We called it. We practiced it a few times. I never seen the ball come my way during that play in practice, but when it did in the game, I was just like, I just got to make a play on it. There was nobody around in the middle of the field. Caleb did a good job getting it over the two defenders that was jumping, and just had to catch it, get down, and for us to be able to have that field goal.
Caleb was trying to describe yesterday the impact that Thomas had, and he used the word aura, just the aura around it was different and special. Do you see that, or how would you describe just kind of the impact he's had?
He's definitely different. He definitely speaks. It motivates you and everything. So when he's up in front of the offense, we want to go out there and play our best football for him. He's going to call the game, and we just got to go out there and execute.
Jay, you're under contract here for 5 seasons. Are there things specifically that you can point to and feel optimistic about, knowing that you're going to be here for a long, long time?
What we did in the second half, well, mainly the fourth quarter, if we could do that the first 3 quarters, it's going to be amazing to see what we put up in points and how many games we win.
Tom, he sounds, obviously, it hurts. It hurts to lose, but he sounds optimistic. It's just an optimistic tone. I think with the ball in his hands, he doesn't care how he gets it, like we referred to at the beginning of the show. Does that give you some hope as a player that, okay, they're going to trust me enough to put the ball in my hands in creative ways, I can affect the game then? And that's going to make me feel like I'm having a say in the outcome of this game.
One thing about DJ is DJ wants as many touches as he can possibly get. DJ will throw passes if they call on him to do that. But the thing about DJ understands is the better that he plays, the better it's going to help the other guys on this football team. When you look at and see how many targets Keenan Allen got and then what DJ Moore was able to accomplish, and then how many targets Cole Kmet got, and then Rome Odunze and DeAndre Swift and Roshan, everything that DJ can do from what's asked of him is not only helping the growth of the offense, but it's given other players more opportunities as well. So he's not selfish saying, look at me, give me the ball, I'm the right man for the job. He's saying, I'm the right man for the job to get it done where it also assists every other offensive player on this team.
Yeah, 3 players with 10-plus targets in this game, and then you throw in DeAndre Swift with 13 attempts rushing the football. So they did spread it around, and DJ 7 for 7 targets and catches. Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. Let's flip it to defense. Jalen Johnson, quite upset. He's been here a while. He's seen a lot of one-score losses in his career with the Bears, and it's leaving him in a mood.
No, it's at its all-time low. Of course, it's getting high. I mean, we're on a 4 or 5 game losing streak. So I mean, none of this is ideal. Nobody walks around. Well, I don't walk around here with a smile on my face. There ain't nothing to be happy about. So I mean, obviously my frustration is at a high. Everybody's frustration is at a high.
And the defense missed opportunities in Washington and Green Bay to close out games.
Yeah, correct.
You had a chance to get a stop in overtime and didn't get it. What has to happen to get that defense in the mentality of season games that are there for?
It's not a mentality. It's just strictly execution. At the end of the day, we got to find ways to get put in the right position and then ways to execute. So I know for me and myself too, I had a bang play, missed the 3rd down. That could have got us off the field. Stuff like that. I mean, there's nothing that's not a mindset. That's not anything else outside of simply just not getting the ball out. So I mean, for different reasons, we find ways to not execute when it counts. And I mean, we just got to figure out a way, whether it's physically, mentally, whatever it is. We got to get put in the right position, but we got to execute.
Jalen, why do you think the defense hasn't cleared the bar that you guys thought you could clear this year?
I would honestly say it starts with the up front and the run. I feel like we've been giving up a lot of run yards, and then I feel like explosive play really been killing us. I think overall, outside of that, we're good. 3rd down, we're good in red zone. I think just those 2 things have held us back from being who we know we can be.
You guys are going to go into Detroit on Thursday against a team that you had success against last year. What are the things that you draw from the performances last year defensively that you were able to do to kind of slow Goff down and keep that offense in check?
So you're asking me about last year?
Yeah, just the things that you guys did well against them last year.
We got 4 I think in the 2 games we had at least 7 interceptions. So I mean, that's what we did good. Just get him to turn the ball over.
You know, the weapons are going to keep on coming.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the defense will be tested. They were tested yesterday. Overall, do you feel the frustration in Jalen at the podium just because he's been here? He's one of the guys who's been here since the beginning of this, rebuild.
But, if he is frustrated, this is the way I want to hear it, and this is what I want to hear out of him, because it's kind of a message that goes to everybody else in that locker room. When you play cornerback in the NFL, it's a really lonely existence, because if you go and you make a play and then, everybody cheers, you go back to the huddle, and now you're expected to make the next play. If you give up a pass completion, then all of a sudden all that attention is focused on you for about the next 60 seconds. So it's just the requirements of the job are so difficult, and I often refer to it as the second hardest position in professional sports next to quarterback. But again, I want to hear the alpha out of Jalen. I want to hear him unhappy about what's going on, and I want him to deliver that same message when he's just talking to only the players in the locker room, because he's kind of earned the right to be able to do that. But if he's saying it in front of his teammates, he's also kind of putting a little bit more positive pressure on himself to go out and perform what we expect of him.
Bears fans, Steinhoffels is a proud partner of the Chicago Bears. This Bears season, Steinhoffels is partnering with Special Spaces Illinois to create dream bedrooms for children battling cancer. For every false start caused by the Bears defense during a home game, Steinhoffels donates $1,000 to Special Spaces Illinois. Shop in store and online at steinhoffels.com. All right, let's flip over now to the matchup this week in advance of the Thanksgiving Day game against the Detroit Lions. What is most on your mind about defending this bunch in their own building right now? Let's start on offense.
Making it uncomfortable for Jared Goff, because when you think of some of the athletes at the quarterback position, Jared Goff is a mentally strong athlete. He's not an athlete in terms of what some of these other players are capable of. So if you can close that pocket, if you can condense his throwing space, if you can make him want to get the ball out of his hands, a half a second earlier than he really wants to, and then maybe that Jalen and the crew will get some of these interceptions, create a tip ball for an interception, create incompletions. So to me, as many weapons there are on this offense, my entire goal is to make it as uncomfortable as possible for Jared Goff.
Yeah, he has been really accurate this year. 5 games of 80% completion percentage. He had one tough game, 5 interception game a couple weeks ago, but he's been protecting the football. And again, they have a running attack that is it's a 1-2 punch. And you compared it favorably to something significant to me off air this morning, and it makes sense. Have at it.
Right. Oh, no, I'm just saying that, going through the description of it, I was thinking about it, and it reminded me of the Pony Express with Craig James and Eric Dickerson. Craig James went to the USFL. Eric Dickerson, first-round draft choice for the Los Angeles Rams at the time. But, again, it's a variation. You have a guy that has a good instincts interior runner, willing to lower his shoulder like Dave Montgomery. Then you got Gibbs, who's got the speed to get outside. And one thing about Gibbs, if he gets space and you're an isolated island tackler against him, he'll head fake you, he'll shoulder shrug you, he'll lower body fake you out of position, and then he's got the speed to take at the distance. And that's one of the big concerns of mine. But I guess point of emphasis would be going back to make it the atmosphere super uncomfortable for Jared.
All right, defensively, what gets your attention? Without Aiden Hutchinson.
Without Aiden Hutchinson, it's the assist of the crowd noise. When I used to play there back in the 80s, there'd be more Bears fans there than there would be Detroit fans, so we never worried about the noise. Then all of a sudden, Dan Campbell was hired, and he changed the atmosphere. Not only did he change the culture in his player locker room, he changed the culture inside that stadium. So now if you're having an offensive line that, again, continuously is getting off the ball an eighth of a second slower than what the defensive linemen are, then that gives the defensive lineman that advantage. And even Hutchinson isn't there. They're still getting pressure on the quarterback, and they're being able to use the assistance of the atmosphere as much as they are anything else they have.
Yeah, I look at Ali McNeil as a guy that doesn't get a ton of attention, but he's very, very disruptive, and there's somebody you got to keep an eye on and block. Their safeties are rock'em sock'em, and they're taking the ball away. And they just play hard. They play hard, and the results are this. They haven't allowed a touchdown in back-to-back games for the first time since 1999. They've gone 10 straight quarters without a touchdown. The Lions also have not surrendered a second-half point in 3 straight games. So scoring is going to be at a premium. And, again, if you can just figure out a way to jump out quickly and get some points on the board to give yourself a little breathing room, and they're gonna have fight. This game will never be over. They will come back if necessary. That's how they're built. That's how they're wired. So if you get on top of them, you get an advantage. They ain't going away. So you got to play a full 60.
Well, the thing about it, you said, so they haven't allowed a point in the second half in the last 2 games,
3.
you said?
3.
Last 3 games. So, Jeff, I would have some subtle adjustments at halftime that I wouldn't show them the same things repeatedly. After I would have plays that I was intent on running in the first half, and then the second half I would almost re-script and have a couple of formations, a couple specific designs, a couple of intentions of trying to get Detroit uncomfortable in that first series and see if I could take advantage of something like that.
Did you like playing on Thanksgiving?
Loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Cole Kmet says it's the most fun day to play football. I think it just brings the kid out in everybody, right?
Well, Detroit and Dallas are always going to play on Thanksgiving, and then they added that night game, which is the Packers and Dolphins. And so the Thanksgiving Day games that I played on with the Bears, we never lost. The Thanksgiving Day game that I played on with the Miami Dolphins, we beat Dallas in an ice storm. So I've had some good results on Thanksgiving, and I just love playing on it. I appreciated it, and it just a great memory.
That was the Leon Lett game, correct?
Yes.
Thought he was
There's
scoring.
nothing like leaving a 3-inch ice storm in Dallas, taking off and landing in Miami as a member of the Miami Dolphins. So it's significantly different than having a 45-minute flight from Detroit back to Chicago, but a win is a win. And I felt like I was landing in the land of sunshine after winning a game.
All right. Lastly, because of how they lost these last 3 losses, I know 5 in a row, but the three games we know all about. Does that make your resolve stronger that you're just right there? Or what is the mentality of a professional football player when those things happen to you? When you think you've done everything right to get to that point and you just don't come away with the final result that you want?
Well, I think Matt would go in the room and he would point out the corrections that need to be made and the good things there, but it does build resolve in there because you know that you're a team good enough. If you make one more play, then you're talking about 3 more victories.
Yeah, one more play. One more play, Tommy.
One more play. You're not sitting on here dwelling on 60 minutes of lackluster, unemotional football. You're talking about a team that did what they needed to do during the week to prepare mentally and physically, get ready to go out and play a game. And so to me, it would be, developing resolve that, okay, we got to be one more, everybody take it upon themselves to be one play better. And when we get that one play better, we're going to walk out of stadiums with victories.
Hardest loss of your career?
NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers, getting beat at home. I mean, we are already making plans to celebrate the Super Bowl in New Orleans and how great of a time we are going to have and, who's getting tickets and, what do we have to do? Where do you think we'll go practice for the first week? And then that rug was pulled right out from underneath your feet. And that's the thing I don't think people understand about football players. You can go to a stadium thinking you're on the cusp of doing the second greatest thing, the second greatest accomplishment in your football life because you've already been part of one winning Super Bowl. Then all of a sudden, by the end of the game, San Francisco's celebrating and our season's over. We go for a checkout physical the next day. And it's done. When you're in the NFC Championship game and you're 1 week away from the Super Bowl and you get beat at home against a team that you've already beat on Monday Night Football at home, then they come into your stadium and win under bare conditions. You never get over it.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois right here at home, driving access toward healthier communities through it all. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Bears Etc. podcast. I know you got your Thanksgiving plans underway, family and friends. Not you, Tom, everybody listening. Okay. Yeah, you're laughing.
I thought you're making fun of me.
No. It's to our listeners. We appreciate all of you guys, and please subscribe if you haven't done already on the Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. Tom will visit again on Wednesday and break it down further. Thank you. Bear down, everybody.
Bears.